Palmer's back in the game. Now, as I explained, look, what seats he wins, good luck to him, but preferences matter. Preference discipline from the right helped Morrison win, in fact, got Morrison to win in 2019 when the preferences were not flowing in 22. Well, the result went the way that it did. And also the weight of the advertising. I mean, you remember the blitzkrieg that was coming against Bill Shorten helped Morrison in 19. The bugger them all message, well, helped do them in 22. So, Bronwyn, Palmer.
Yeah, well, he's a force to be reckoned with. He really is. And people who underestimate him are foolish.
Yes.
So I agree with all the analysis that you've done with, but there are two other things I'd add. He's already come out and said there are only two sexes. And the most successful ad that the Republicans ran was the one that says, they're about they and them, we're about you.
Yeah, that was a great ad.
It was a very powerful ad. And the Liberal Party to date hasn't gone there. The second thing is that his determination on waste is also it resonates with people.
Correct.
And the other one that resonates, of course, is immigration.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot to play with, and he won't be playing soft. He won't be pulling back. He'll be full on.
Well,
so it's going to affect, in my view, the way that the coalition is going to have to couch its policies.
Well, and also, Stephen, I mean, look, in the conversation that our team had with him today, what he said publicly today, look, he might be on a journey towards that greater preference discipline of 2019 because a lot of the issues that he's having a crack at obviously are anti where the government is. However, part of the trump of it all is bugger them all. So whether he repeats the same preference situation in 22, which was, look, you only need 6 numbers, so we're going to list basically us plus 5. But what's your thought of this, and what's your caution to Labor people going, who cares?
Yeah, no, you shouldn't say who cares. I mean, he's a proven electoral force in 2019. He destroyed Bill Shorten with his advertising campaign. He wasn't that successful in terms of his electoral wins, just like in 22, but he destroyed Shorten with that campaign. But I think Bronwyn's points were spot on. The differences with what Trump's been successful in doing in the US are that on the sort of trans issues in particular, the he, she, them argument that you just highlighted, the Liberals are closer to Labor on it than they are to Trump/Palmer.
Correct.
So it's going to be very hard to say vote for Dutton because he'll be better on this.
Yeah.
Because they're about the same. Just like Labor on refugees, to take Bronwyn's other points, Labor has had to tack to the centre and essentially still keep in place most of what Scott Morrison and Tony Abbott did.
No, that's not true.
Well,
it's only 2 of the 3 legs, but still,
but there hasn't
not
been
insignificant. The tripod would fall over.
There aren't a million people coming
you off.
and landing. So at the moment, you might not like it, but the boats haven't really en masse. And I lived when the boats came en masse. I was in Cabinet. This was disastrous.
But that's not quite the
So
point.
I'm not saying no boats have turned up. I'm simply saying in the public consciousness, the migration issue is not as potent because Labor's tacked towards the Liberals.
But it is becoming,
and on trans issues,
it's becoming much more potent with regard to the anti-Semitism that's going on. It's making it more potent.
No, I am with you 100% that the anti-Semitism issue is... Chris Minns, we talked about it, Ryan Parks last week, playing blinders. Sometimes the feds are a little clunkier in terms of their response.
They're not just clunky, they're damn weak.
But I don't think it's broken the dam to become a full-on migration-style issue. I accept there's a good argument taking place about what's the role of multiculturalism.
If something doesn't happen soon, with charges being brought against those 2 nurses, it is going to really heat up. Why are they not charged? And by the way, whatever happened to the person who stabbed the Christian bishop in the eye?
Well, I presume that's all still...
Has he been charged?
I don't know. I remember roughly at the time that I believe charges were, but I'll go and double check for you gladly and get back to you next time. But that said, can I talk about, again, the way the media kind of treats good billionaire, bad billionaire, right? Like I just, it is so naked, right? Which is that, you know, taxpayer and lefty media, you know, if you want to give money to a teal, good billionaire, right? If you want to go and use the law as it is, bad billionaire, about the advertising to try to stand up and try to challenge the system. But also, can we also tell the truth here too, which is all of that song and dance about the system changing, all of that doesn't apply to this election, it applies to the next election. Correct. So all that theatre of the teals blowing up at the government was garbage. So in perhaps also the reality with Palmer here too is that he knows the laws have changed, so this is the last chance to do what he has done in the past. Those changes, Stephen, are worth talking about.
No, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. The Teals theatre last week, it doesn't come into force, so settle down. But more importantly, both parties want to make sure that neither of the billionaires involved in this game can absolutely dominate an election in the way Palmer did in 19. And so both parties have an interest in making sure that the billionaires can't buy elections. And that is a good position for both parties to take. And I commend Dutton and the Liberal Party for showing leadership and going, no, we're not interested in anyone being able to buy. We'll all do the hard work. You and I will probably disagree, Paul, as we usually do about public funding. Yeah. But this is a better place to be than a Teal billionaire or a Palmer billionaire buying elections.
But also, where I do blow up, sorry, Bronwyn, I'll jump in a second, and then please, jump to where you want to go or where I am on this, right? The thing I hate about these electoral reforms as well is that unions are independent. Like, unions are literally in the constitution of the Labor Party, literally 50%. Every MP must be a member. They control votes. They decide who is in the ministry or not. Oh, no, but they're completely independent. So basically, every party gets outspent 10-1 if the individual unions decide to line up against them. That's a nice little quirk of the system, isn't it, Bronwyn?
Absolutely, and there have been attempts to fight it. In fact, there was a High Court decision when someone took a case to the High Court and unsuccessful. So I've often wondered why the Liberal Party doesn't form a union. And it can then have all the money funneled through there just like the Labor Party does.
Yeah. But they could start with a superannuation fund. Anyway.
Look,
well, that was done to give money to the Labor Party because the membership was falling off.
It's just never happened. I remember Andrew Robb, the National Farmers Federation, wrote an article in the Bulletin in 1998 after all these laws were passed. I'm looking forward to seeing the disclosures after the 1998 election to see how much money these super funds have given to Labor. And you know what the answer was? None. And it's never happened.
Sorry, I've been through a few of the trusts that run those super funds.
No, we're talking about
and you will find the directors, the money is paid direct to the union.
To
be the third party hammer for the Labor Party.
Yeah.
But the key is unions. The weakness in your argument is that unions have been donating to more than the Labor Party for many years. Yeah. Okay, they've given money to the Greens. They've given
the ETU certainly was money to the Greens.
This is my point. CFMEU, so a whole bunch of unions have given money to the Greens. Some have given it to Brian Harradine. Over the years. So
but the vast majority of it comes. On those super funds, the money for the directors is paid straight to the union, and it's in their accounts.
So let me explain to you what happens. If the union official takes the annual fee, everyone attacks the union officials for getting double dipping. So they go, OK, we won't take the money. Just give it to the union. And then everyone attacks them for secretly funneling money into the union.
The only person who actually takes the money is Wayne Swan.
Of course, the president of the Labor Party.
He's independent chair, and he does a lot of work.
And he's the president of the Labor Party. But nothing to see here.
This is independent.
He's one of my best.
I know he is, but he's also the president of the Labor Party.
And when the former head, Peter Collins, was the chair, was the former leader of the Liberal Party. He was the parliamentary leader of the Liberal Party.
With no shot,
and he was chair of the fund. And guess what? He took the money as well. And I have
zero criticism of it. He gets more than $200,000 and he gets superannuation on top of that.